Hello YouTube. It's your boys back at it again for another review video. Please click that subscribe button. This is pretty good. Have you tried the Pepsi Max? Anyway, how you going, Jared?
Pretty good.
It's directed by Len Wiseman, who is a new director in the franchise. He was formerly Chad Stahelski. He directed the first 4 films, while Len Wiseman's the new director. The music was composed by Marco Beltrami. The cast includes Ana de Armas, Keanu Reeves, Norman Reedus, and Gabriel Byrne.
Lance Reddick, R.I.P.
Yes, I knew I was forgetting a name. So we're going to start off with a non-spoiler for a good 5-10 minutes and then go straight into the spoilers. So we'll try and not spoil the film. But for those who haven't seen the film, if you want a brief plot, I'll go through the brief plot without spoiling it this time. So Ballerina is set in the John Wick universe. Obviously, it's a John Wick film. And it takes a place between chapters 3 and 4. It follows Rooney, which is played by Ana de Armas, which is a trained assassin tracking down people who killed their family. So it's basically a similar plot to John Wick 1, but instead of the dog dying, it's her family died. And the whole movie is basically her path to revenge across the movie. So, that seems like a John Wick film to me. Let's talk about what we really liked about the film. Then we could probably talk about what we didn't like. Or should we do the opposite? Actually, I think we should talk about...
Sorry, is this the spoiler-free area?
Yeah, spoiler-free. Actually, no, let's just talk about overall thoughts. You can start it off this time, Mitch.
Overall, yeah, I thought it was a decent addition to the John Wick franchise. Her character herself... Jesus Christ, her actual character name is Eve. I think she's a fun addition to this weird world of underground Illuminati assassins. The performance herself, there was not really much to her. I think her contract basically said, are you willing to get thrown around this entire film and do kind of a lot of stunt work? And that was ticked off there, yes. It brings everything you expect in a John Wick kind of movie. Even though it's not meant to be part of John Wick, it technically is. They even got it undertitled in the headline.
It's got Keanu Reeves
from John Wick. Yeah, and spoiler alert: there's
John Wick's
Wick
in it.
Yeah, guest cameo. I think its strengths is it tries to strip itself away and makes it quite clear that the character Eve, even though she is an absolute badass by the end of the film, that she does have limitations in regards to what she is capable of doing. So I think the best thing about her was her implementing of improving on the spot. So kind of like Keanu Reeves, but for her it's required a lot more on the front, that she needs to just adapt to her surroundings as soon as possible, her intuition. So, she's in a room, a kitchen, naturally she's going to use all the knives, she's going to use the cleavers, she's going to use the mounts. Every single scene she's in, whatever's in her vicinity within reach becomes a weapon, so to speak.
Did you know Jackie Chan was actually the action, Jackie Chan was the action coordinator for the film? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, it would have made sense.
Because that's basically Jackie Chan's signature, use a ladder as a weapon. So, I enjoyed it. She's decent enough character. I think honestly the lackluster parts is everything surrounding her character in terms of a plot. I mean, if you go into this film looking forward to a clear-cut, perfect, well-written narrative, you're in the wrong kind of film. Because generally when you go into these films, you're looking at the stunts, you're looking at the choreography, you're looking like how they set up a scene and how it leaves a scene. And there's a kind of funny segue where they show in reverse all the stuff that she's done I think that was one of the most clever scenes. We don't actually see what she did. We see the aftermath of her leaving this like bloodshed line of knife kills and whatnot. And she's collecting all her arsenal as she's leaving the door. I think that was a nice little segue to like time progressing. Like instead of seeing her directly go through of it, we're just seeing the atmosphere, the aftermath of it, and so in that we just get a sense of what happened. And I found that quite funny and quirky at the same time, as a means of like introducing a character as this new. I guess that was kind of her welcoming to being an actual official assassin, whereas everything prior to that was still her in training. So yeah,
it showed some personality there, where she was like walking around collecting knives. You kind of saw a bit of, you got an idea of like kind of how she was.
Her approach, like she literally came in with an arsenal of knives, throwing weapons and whatnot, and then like naturally there's some areas where she even used the car as a weapon. Like yeah, it just goes to what with her style of character and all that stuff. And yeah, I think she did a great job. Some of the stuff that was demanded of her in the film, I know I couldn't bloody do without throwing my knee out or my back out or anything like that. And I was surprised to find the actress herself is 37 years old.
Older than us.
I thought she was like in her mid-20s at the most.
Yeah,
so,
same.
Kudos to her. Like she got thrown around a lot in this film, so I gotta give respect to the actress for pulling all that stuff off. What I believe is her. Maybe sometimes it was a stunt double with CG covered face, maybe, but as far as I could see, it looked like it was actually her. So respect to the investment of it, to say the least.
Yeah, well,
I'll leave it to one of you guys now.
Yeah, so the John Wick films, a lot of them were known for the action scenes and the cinematography, or not quite the cinematography, more of the scenes in itself, like all the cool nightclubs, the cool retro kind of lighting and stuff. The style, yeah, and this movie has a lot of that, which is good. Yeah, like the nightclub scenes and stuff, like, you know, stuff you would expect from a John Wick film are here. The action scenes are cool. Like you could tell, they put a lot of time into the action sequences. And if you wanted action, there's goddamn action, boys. There's a lot of action in this film. It pretty much starts off with an action scene. So if you want to go see this film, I think, and you like John Wick, then I think you won't be too disappointed. I'll say that at the very least. Yes, Jared.
Good evening.
Hey, put your.
This was. I went in blind. I
actually blind. You lost your eye.
Actually, I did. Yeah. When we were going to see it, I actually didn't know too much about it. Like I was like, oh, they're making another John Wick sort of thing. I wasn't expecting to like it so much. I thought I was gonna not enjoy myself, but I did enjoy myself. I think some of the problems, and I spoke to you guys about it before, about the John Wick things, and we differ with our opinion on the whole John Wick sort of genre of film.
How dare you?
They where it's like, you know how there's like sometimes there's heaps of talking or there's too much fighting or action scenes happening. I'm not really a fan of, and you know, people. I feel like some of in the last John Wick movies, I believe, some of the dialogue scenes dragged on for way too long. Just to me, like, just kind of felt very pointless. Yeah, no, this was this felt right. It didn't feel like there was any headbutting moments of just people talking, but there wasn't an overload of action, even though there was, but I'd never got sick of it, which was...
So it was a 2-hour film. There wasn't that much talking, not that much action. So what was there to a lot of, Jared? Huh?
You're twisting my words, man. Yeah, no, freaking, yeah, it just felt natural. Like, nothing really felt forced. I think, like, it's... Yeah, so we're not doing spoiler territory yet?
Not yet. We'll get there soon.
Man.
Right after you shut up.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my analysis. Yeah, I think what you guys said before with like I guess the story of the film and kind of like how it works and the lore and how the underground assassination world sort of how they go by these rules, how it can sort of seem what's the word convoluted or just like some things where it's just like doesn't really add up, but like at the end of the day it doesn't really matter, and I'm kind of just nitpicking at everything, but other than that I enjoyed the film.
I don't know if this is spoiling, but I would say the weakest part of the movie would be the villain. I think that this is what we mentioned first thing when we watched the movie was the villain. It wasn't the best villain in the universe. It was he started off all right, and so I don't think that's too spoilage. But yeah, just come into this movie and expect you might like the villain, but I thought the villain could have used some work, and that's probably the worst thing about this film. And going into my score, I would give the film a ooh, this is a tough one. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I'm gonna hold my score until after the spoiler part, mate.
Oh, okay. Yep, so
I'm gonna copy Mitch, but I think to me, well, it might change. I'm just gonna
I feel like we're all kind of itchy to talk about the spoiler part.
well, we're here.
There's only so much you can say.
All right, well, I think it was a pretty good film. Go watch it. I don't think you'll be losing your money. Yeah, I think you'll have a great time watching the film. All right, let's talk about spoilers now, boys. Hey, you start off again, Mitch, as El Clasico.
Sweet. As I briefly touched on, in terms of narratives, it's not the greatest movie. It sets up the whole plot within the opening sequence. It's a revenge story. Daughter wants revenge on her father's death, finds the killers involved, such and such and such. For me, the narrative does fall on itself by like the second half, namely because of the villains, especially unfortunately Gabriel Byrne, who is a classic actor. He's done a lot of great work theatrically and mobster-wise. He even got to play the devil in Arnold Schwarzenegger's End of Days, which is just now a guilty pleasure for me. He didn't really have any kind of sense of threat or intimidation. Like there was possibility in the opening sequence for him to have this kind of intimidating factor where he gives people this ultimatum or whatnot, but other than that, they just fall flat on him. And there's a bunch of subplot narratives as well that kind of go nowhere. There's that sequence where it's revealed Eve has a sister, and it felt like on the day the screenwriters just said, "Hey, let's just change this character into a sister and then immediately kill her off because we don't know what to do with her." It just seemed odd. I thought they were building her up to be this kind of like, rival. She was like second in command. There's going to be this big fight between girl v girl and all that shit before she gets to the main boss. But no, it's like plot twist, I'm your sister, and then boom, dead. It just felt like it went absolutely nowhere and was absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah, she was just like a muscle man. Like the whole movie, she was like a muscle man, and then all of a sudden, it's like, "I'm your sister," dead. It's like, wow, that was very bad character development.
Okay, she's the muscle, but again, we don't really ever get to see her do anything. She shows up in a scene. There's like a standoff with a gun sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, either Eve gets away or it's like sucker punched in the back of the head. Like, we didn't really get to see her as this kind of antagonistic force to be like concerned about,
or to see her martial arts. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Some kind of fight of some sort. Like the one little conflict we get, Eve immediately disarms her, and it's like, haha, I'm your sister, I'm dead. It's just like, what was the point of having built up that character for that to be the end? and everything.
All right, sorry,
You
we
missed
just
the
had some
point.
technical difficulties. Yeah, so we were talking about the sister and how pointless she was, and I don't know how much she's talked after that, but too bad, boys.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to the sister? Oh man, I started talking about Gabriel Byrne and everything.
Well,
I think what
all right.
Mitch, what you were up to, you were just talking about the village place. How you like want to
Well, just
know
the whole
more.
plot themselves.
well,
Like,
just continue on as you were.
all right. Yeah. So, depending on what you lost, I found the sister subplot irrelevant and pointless. I thought it would have been better if it was Tatiana, this character that we introduced early on in the film, and they somehow brought her back because she gets excommunicated by the Ballerina school. I've forgotten what the Romanovs clan was called. Again, just a subplot that they didn't use properly. Just a lot of subplots that just didn't balance right. And for me, like you said, Josh, the villain, he's so lackluster. He's not a physical threat. He's not a tactical threat or this, intimidating presence. There's nothing scary about him other than I kidnap kids and I train them to be assassins.
Or he's some
like-
rich grandpa guy that has a lot of money, and he doesn't have. That's his depth. He's just a rich grandpa that no one likes.
If the plot twist was that these are actually the good guys, that they just want to live in peace and tranquil, and here she comes in misunderstanding their whole purpose and wipes them all out, cool. Like, oh crap, they weren't really the bad guys to begin with. They were just trying to do their own thing, and her father was the villain. I would have enjoyed that. I would have enjoyed Eve, like, realizing, oh crap, what have I done? And then just put, like, a mark on her back for doing what you did.
Because they do that. Sorry to interrupt you, Mitch. They do that at the start of the film because we're in spoiler territory, where the little girl is just a little girl, and I think the one later's like, "Does she know who her father was?" or something like that, and it never goes back to that ever again.
Yeah, it's just I think what they meant by that is like, oh, your father was an assassin. That's it.
Yeah, but they
I know what you mean. It's so lackluster. It's just like can we get a little more, please? A little more.
Even for a John Wick film, a little bit more.
Well, I mean, you got to compare all the villains that John Wick faced in his films. Like most of them were just like a physical threat to John Wick. They were good fighters and whatnot, but they still had this sense of like an obstacle for John Wick. Gabriel Byrne didn't feel like an obstacle at all to Eve. The obstacle was just Eve getting to her. And once she got to him, it was like Gabriel Byrne tries to flee.
Yeah.
Tries to escape.
That was hilarious. Where he's like, oh, I'm not leaving. We haven't left for 200 years. Like, he was showing some really, like, oh man, he's a savage, man. He'll die with a ship. Then 2 minutes later, he's like, all right, turn a quick left here. Take the shortcut.
Yeah,
he's in the back seat, in the middle back seat, look, with his hands up, going, "Come on, guys!" Like, it's like freaking goofball McGee.
Yeah, it's just it's just lackluster. And then, of course, the biggest threat to Eve, spoiler, is John Wick.
Yeah,
they call in John Wick. Yeah, John Wick comes in as the main wall for Eve, and of course, John Wick being John Wick, he begins to show empathy for Eve's cause, even though they don't even really directly know each other, and gives her an ultimatum. She's got like half an hour to kill Gabriel Byrne, or he's gonna kill her. So I was like, cool. And then they set it up that she has no chance against John Wick, which I totally respect and love. Because I went into the film assuming, here we go, she's going to be perfect, she's going to be indestructible, she's going to be better.
I would have been so pissed off if she actually beat him, or it was even on par with him. I would have been mad.
The whole franchise would have been pissed off, and they knew that. So they set up, as awesome as she is nowhere near the tier that John Wick is. Yeah. John Wick is God level tier. And she's probably somewhere in the middle. All right. But lucky for her, John Wick shows empathy and gives her enough warnings for him to finally say, all right, I will, quote unquote, not help you by helping you kill the villain. And To me, in terms of like the plot being the plot it is, it's very lackluster. For me, the worst thing, in my opinion, was having Keanu Reeves have his fighting moment. I reckon his presence would have made a lot more big impact if he just observed and just watched and let her do her thing. And they keep setting up this loudspeaker for Gabriel Burns. I'll turn it over to you guys in a second. I'm almost done. They keep setting up this big PL loudspeaker in the town, and Gabriel Burns' villain keeps using it to say, "Everybody in the village, we need to stop her. Everybody in the village, don't kill this person." I think it would have been a bigger show of power trip if John Wick just gets to the PR system and says, "This is John Wick. Here's your ultimatum. Don't die for this man. Turn on him. You know, don't go to kill Eve. Kill him."
Mm-hmm.
And you see like the village divided in what they think, because on the one side is Eve killing them all one by one, and on the other side is John Wick, the legend, giving them this ultimatum. You know, you will survive if you turn on your boss. Your boss is not helping you. He's throwing you to the wolves. Turn on your shepherd, because he's not protecting you.
I'll add to that. So they made it out. The main villain died. He just like got shot in the head. It would have been a way better way for him to go down, in the sense that he's like, all right, it doesn't matter if you kill me. Like in the start of the movie, it doesn't matter if you kill me. We're still going to take over, and it's going to be a permanent thing. But if John Wick did that PA thing, and if the people did turn against him, his power structure would have been destroyed, because they would have turned against him, and he would have realized that no, he's going to die, and people are against him. So that would have been like a way better takedown. Anyway.
And my last thought, I thought about this after we talked about this. Imagine if it gets to that final moment where the car's crashed, he steps out, he's having his little monologue to her. She's got the gun aimed at him, waiting to pull the trigger. She doesn't kill him. The remaining village gather, and they're the ones that kill the boss and let her go. So she technically doesn't break the rules and kill him. So in a sense, she technically is allowed and pardoned, because she didn't finish off the job. They did. They ended up killing him. So in a sense, they kind of receive the punishment, even though at this point they don't care.
Or give him the revolver, and then he's got to choose to kill himself with the. I mean, I should be a writer.
Like he did with the father.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, that would have been a better narrative, but they didn't do that, man. It was just so in the forehead, dead.
Then maybe either her or John Wick can have that line to him, like give him the revolver with one bullet in it.
Choice.
Like, god dang it, man. Full circle.
Yeah, two options. They could have been so much more of a creative ending. But it was just, she ends up getting revenge, even though it kind of meant nothing, and it puts a giant target on her back, just like John Wick. I thought maybe John Wick being there could have said, "Don't do what I did, find a different way. You still have that choice that he keeps talking to her about." And there's your two options right there for a better ending.
Yeah, John Wick shooting the tank off that guy with a sniper, that was an unnecessary insertion of himself. Like, she wasn't in any danger. I get it, if she was in danger, she was about to die, then John Wick helped her, but he's like a guy, he had almost no fuel in the tank anyway, and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to shoot the tank and kill him, when she was going to beat him anyway.
Yeah.
So that
could have been the moment for her to finally face the opponent that's bigger than her. She was closing the distance with the fire hydrant, and I thought that's what the point was. Close the distance, get the flamethrower off him, and do this, 1v1 grapple where she could come close to death, because that's her biggest weakness, as they establish, is guys that are bigger than you, they're stronger than you, and she doesn't exactly have a room to implement weapons and all that. That could have been her actual 1v1, but again, they didn't do that. They cheated that and just had Keanu Reeves not help by helping. It's just...
Yeah. Well, the firefight was pretty cool.
It was awesome.
Let's talk about the good things.
That's enough negative out of me.
Yeah.
I want to talk about all the good things, but I've spoken a lot. Let's segue to you, Jared.
What did you not like, Jared? Well, you're a simp for the movie.
Yeah. I'm a simp for Ama Odares. Did I get the name right?
Close enough.
She's too old for you, mate.
Um, yeah, I've seen her in like a lot of other movies. And everything she's in is usually really good. She was alright in this. I felt like, what was her accent? She didn't talk much. I think she had an accent, but I felt like she gave up.
American, Russian, I'm not sure.
It's like she gave up halfway through the film. She was just like full LA American. Gen Z.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, I think, and it's something that we talked about before. I don't know why my voice cracked. With John Wick, and we talked about it. John Wick, Keanu in all his other movies, he would like do all the stunts himself. Not sure if she did them herself, and it's usually I don't really. That's like not a thing. Like if it's a John Wick film, she had to be her own stuntman like that. I feel like that would have. This is not what I'm saying at all, but I felt like, well, what am I getting at? Cut that part out.
No, well, I think she did her own stunts. A lot of the scenes you saw her face, and she was just like, I don't think she did many dangerous stunts, besides a couple of ones in the ice bar. But I think she did. She did like 90% of it.
I doubt she was actually like getting thrown around on actual ice.
No, yeah, that would have probably been.
The whole room would have been padded.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Tom Cruise, in the iconic bathroom sequence. The whole room was just like cushion padded and all that, but it looks like an actual stall. It looks like actual ceramic. It would have been the same with the ice bar.
Well, a funny thing on the ice club scene. I think that was the first negative towards me. I love the choreography and everything in it, but man, at the end of the film, they did not want to make her look ugly or anything. Like the first club scene, she got kicked in the. I wish I counted how many times she got kicked in the face, kneed in the face, and just punched in the face, and just had absolutely nothing.
Well, spinning back kicked into the ice and broke the ice with her face, like type. She should have been knocked out completely and died.
And yeah, I think sorry if this is a thing that what you were saying, Josh. I remember before after the theater, how like in the other ones, John Wick would kind of be like, he would be like sort of hunched over if he broke his shoulder. In some of the scenes where she got like thrown down the stairs and then slammed onto a wall or a table.
On the ice.
She wouldn't of the ice, and then she'll get back up, sort of like
nothing happened.
Like nothing happened, sort of thing like that. I feel like that kind of took me out of it. I think the rest of the fight scenes, I couldn't really pinpoint. I feel like the movie kind of got better I think they did that little montage, what you said, Mitch, how she improved over the few months.
I wish it was a few years, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, because the rest of the fight scenes and everything, I think I stopped complaining or, going like, hey, wait a minute, sort of thing like that. But I think I kind of just came to terms with it. The first fight scene in the ice club, because later on near the end of the film, when she's like fighting basically the whole village,
she's got more Botox on somehow. Like she's even prettier.
Yeah, she's like just getting more beautiful by a punch, like handsome.
Winter is agreeing with her.
Oh, her cheekbones have like protruded in a good way from that punch.
Like handsome Squidward just in the face. Get a gif of handsome Squidward just getting hit and getting more prettier.
I do agree with that. Yeah, they could have blooded up her face a few more times. Totally agree.
Because at the end of the film, like when it was the whole final showdown, she had like a scratch just above her eyebrow, and I was just like, really?
The attractive scar, the Hollywood attractive scar.
Give me put a bruise on the nose. Oh,
yeah. She should have had a broken nose. She should have had
two black eyes,
gums bleeding, black eyes.
One eye's closed.
Her ears should have been chafed. Yeah,
because
I totally agree.
She's not as good as John Wick. John Wick was more visibly hurt. She should have. I would have really enjoyed it more if she was a lot more hurt than him, because she's not quite as skilled. and she had like two. Yeah, she was just messed up completely. That would have looked really cool, but the fact that she was like prettier than she was in the beginning kind of made it seem a bit like, oh damn, I didn't believe it. But then that fight scene, I love that fight with John Wick because it did show the power level, and that kind of saved that part a little bit for me. I'm like, yes, thank you. They didn't bring her power level too high, even though it seemed like it because she wasn't hurt. But yeah, she should have been a lot more damaged, you know. She should have been like really struggling hard by the end.
Yeah. And I think we already touched on the subject of the whole story and the narrative and what Mitch was saying about like how there's clans, how they respect rules, and it's kind of just like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't add up with this last thing, the last scene that these guys just did. But
they're supposed to not play by the rules, as they said multiple times. They don't play by the rules, but apparently they still do. It was just, they really could have fleshed out this group to be something more than what they just were. Just a bunch of holiday assassins raising families. It's just like, just give me a little more. Unless I missed something.
No, I don't think you missed. I don't think so. I think that they just didn't flesh it out.
To them, man. Yeah, it's like I think I mentioned this when the screen clocked out. It's like introducing a James Bond villain, but then you go, what is their intentions? And it's like, we don't know. Normally it's a big diabolical plan to take over the world or destroy it. To me, like, we need to have some kind of sense of that. That was their plan. To kill the Continental, to kill the other clans, or something like that. But we don't get that. It's just like, no, they're just, having families and they're raising kids. Oh, okay, so they're trying to avoid that kind of existence. Are they? I don't know. They don't really make that clear.
Yeah. Wait, who's the old lady actor, by the way? The one that was in the chair constantly? I don't know if I disliked her.
Angelica Houston.
Okay, I'm guessing she's a good actress, but I wasn't sure if she was a bad actress there, or that's just who she was. She was kind of playing like, the way she was talking? It's almost like she was on too much Xanax or something. The way she was
given the character, it's probably true.
I don't know. She seemed very like her. She was like kind of slurring her words a little bit, like she was always drunk or something. You didn't get that? I was like, wow.
Oh, I got that. I just thought that was her character, like, because
she
was Russian.
I'll give it.
She's
Like
been in John Wick films.
Like she just
but there's no going past the fact that she plays Morticia Adams. That to me was her best ever role.
Morticia Adams from what? Sorry.
The Adams
family.
Hey. But yeah, that there was a lot of funny, not funny, but kind of funny.
Like good action scenes. I think we would all
funny.
All agree.
I mean, it's not fun.
Like,
it's yeah.
The setups, man. Like for me, my favorite sequence in the whole film is when she's got the whole bloody grenade belt. Because like she's in a weaponsmith arsenal, but like there's weapons with no ammo, and there's ammo that doesn't match the weapons, so all she has to play with is grenades. And I thought the way they implemented that was freaking hilarious.
The grenade was cool. Where she threw the grenade by the door, then she stood by the metal door and blew up. Then she threw another grenade through the doorway and then closed that, and that blew up
on the other side. And then she throttles the guy with the neck and uses the metal table.
I heard someone, a couple behind us, saying you should have died there. But you know what? I disagree. Yes. I don't think so. She was behind the metal table. Maybe she should have gotten shell shock from the sound or something. But she was well protected.
She should have been deaf from that.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, I was surprised she didn't do this. Like,
well, I mean,
we're in a world where it's beyond believability. You know what I mean? Like the fact that John Wick is still alive after the amount of crud he went through 5 films. It's like, okay, we just have to expect this unbelievable. It's equivalent to Fast and Furious stunts in this world, alright?
Unbelievable, but I think like the first couple of John Wicks made it believable in a sense that his martial arts is just so good, and he just outsmarts them so much. That
maybe the first two.
Maybe the first couple.
The third one was a man versus an entire army in a city, and even in this one, the whole point is like they're assassins. They should just be able to shoot someone from a distance, But as we see time and time again, you get a whole group of assassins that feel the urge to get as close as possible to their target, to allow that person the ability to disarm them, or turn the tables on them, or break their arm, or stun them. It's like, I can nitpick that, but it's quite well established that that is the common trope in these films, is the main character manages to close the distance, manages to like just take advantage of a situation and gain the upper hand in every circumstance. So that's the trope of John Wick that I've just come to expect now, even though it's like, really?
Yeah.
Why isn't there just that one sniper, which they do have a sniper in this, but for some reason he doesn't shoot, he just keeps watching for a long amount of time, just saying, she's now doing this, she's now standing still, she's now not doing anything, oh no, she's leaving. I missed my shot.
Yeah, that was the funniest part of the movie, man. Yeah, he had 10,000 opportunities, but it's like as soon as they walk away, he's like, God damn it. But like, if you looked at him 5 minutes before, they were just standing there. Especially the kid was just like sitting there doing nothing.
I thought Mitch, were you earlier before? Were you just talking about the guy at the watchtower in the snow village?
But also when they're at the Continental Hotel and
yeah, I remember the sniper.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, I remember that. But also at the end of the film, when she goes to the snow town with all the assassins. I just remembered the one guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what race he. I think Pakistani. He had that hat.
Well, a Middle East.
The guy that was like on the observation tower. Yeah.
Yeah. He was literally doing what you just said, Mitch. Like he was just going like, "Oh, she did this. Oh, she did that. All right, we see her now," sort of thing like that. And I was just thinking, I'm like, why don't they give that guy a gun or a sniper? Or
why isn't that whole tower like a multiple sniper rifles, or like even like rockets ready for an attack? Like if they got a whole village of family members and children bare to like every imaginable weapon, but you'd think they'd have like rocket projectiles and everything on that watchtower.
Yeah.
But
Like,
no,
I got her on my sights. She's walking north. She's standing still. Like, well, you could have just had a gun.
No, I've got the radio. It's more important. It's like plot convenience, I guess. But yeah, again,
I really think
I don't really have anything common on that.
I really think they need to reimagine the movie now. I think they need to expand it, kind of show us a bit more about the universe of John Wick, because it's a cool universe, but there's been 5 films and they really haven't delved too much into it. I know in the second one they delve a little bit more. We got to see the different buildings. You're like, oh, but yeah, I kind of want to learn a bit more about the world. I just think they need to reimagine, basically, because it's kind of getting a bit dry. What do you think about that?
Yes and no. I mean, I think if you get to the point where they need to stop, like before like it becomes already mundane and repetitive, which arguably you could say it already is.
It is. I think they should have stopped at the second movie, honestly, but in a case that they're going towards the whole Mission Impossible Fast and Furious route, where they're just going to keep pumping them every year or two and they're going to keep making money. In that case, I really think they need to reimagine the whole thing. I mean, I think they tried to by making her the lead instead of John Wick, but honestly, that just kind of made it worse. You know, like, I guess, what does John Wick not want to do it again or something? Like, they should just have him.
Well, I mean, he's 60 years old, bro. As long as so far he can go with the kung fu. I mean, the fact that he did it at the age of 60 is amazing.
But it's him and Tom Cruise. How old's Tom Cruise?
He's also 60.
Hey, man.
Maybe I'm getting my wires crossed. Yeah, Keanu Reeves is 60 as well. Same age.
60? Dude, he looks like he's 42.
I know. He's going crazy. It's that beard. That beard makes him look younger, man.
And
Plus, there's the theory that he's actually a Dracula. So
yeah, I mean, that's I believe that theory. That's why I think they should keep having him in there, because he's never going to age.
Sure.
Or at least have...
he's a legend.
Yeah. Good bloke, mate. He's a good all-round bloke.
I think John Wick's left his mark. Keanu Reeves has left his mark. If they keep milking it with, like, another character, but here's a John Wick cameo, It's kind of like having Rocky in the Creed films all the damn time. It's like, remember Rocky? This movie's not about
Yeah.
Rocky, but he's in it. It's like they'll just keep marketing as a marketing ploy. I feel like having John Wick in this served a small purpose, but at the same time, there was things that he did in the film that were not necessary. Generally, showing his fight sequence, I don't think that was necessary at all. Him versus the ballerina versus Eve, necessary. But when he has this whole moment where he's taken on multiple of them and all that stuff, I don't feel like that was at all necessary. Because again, it's like, John, you just got out of a situation because of the same thing, and now you're willing to get back into it for a person you barely even know. It's like, him just observing should have been enough. That's my take on it. And like I said, if there was an alternate where he just says, "This is John Wick, here's a proposal," having him do that instead of doing his kung fu, I think would have been a huge, much more bigger power play. Because he's already a legend, as these minions say.
Everyone knows. Yeah.
Everyone knows who John Wick is. They're terrified of him. They respect him and they're terrified of him. Him just walking around looking like a 60-year-old man in a suit should have been enough of a power trip. Instead of seeing him do his kung fu again. It's like,
yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's my take.
You didn't need. Yeah, you didn't need to. Yeah.
Him versus Eve, like I said, necessary, because it showcases where they are in their current, place. But everything else that he does in that, it's just like, why? He's just. Let's see John Wick go fighting again, even though this is the ballerina, and she did enough stunt stuff, and there was enough sequences to say, yeah, I'm quite pleased with what I received in terms of action.
Yeah, well, that barn door scene was funny when Eve and John Wick were fighting. He kicked her through a barn door and then went around the corner, and after 2 seconds, kicked her through the other side. I like the I was like a cool camera, like the camera stationary, and you saw him disappear for a sec. She just comes through the other barn door. I don't know, it's like there's some funny parts.
Thinking, all right, she might have a chance now, but I was like, nope.
Nope, she just gets completely.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of sad that I don't know how much more John Wick's going to be part of it, but we'll see the future, and we'll probably make a review on the next film in 2 months' time.
Yeah, well, that's.
I heard rumor.
Or at least probably a year, definitely. When was the last time? Is it every year or 2 years they bring one out? I think it's every 2 years.
I think at its peak it was like one every year, but between John Wick 1 and John Wick 2, I think there was 3 or 4 years separate or something. I'm not sure, because when the first one came out, no one expected it to be as good as it was. It was generally a low budget film. Mm-hmm. I mean, not low budget, but it flew kind of under the radar. But then it was like, dude, have you seen this film?
That's how I watched it.
Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
People kept recommending it. People kept recommending it. I'm like, now I remember seeing it not on Netflix, but around. I'm like, yeah, I mean, Keanu Reeves is cool, but The Matrix is cool and all. But I wasn't big.
That's a lot of people felt that way.
I saw the title.
Keanu Reeves is back, really?
And they're like, dude, you got to watch this freaking movie. And I forgot it, but then I watched it. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go, boys. Then I forgot. Honestly, I forgot about Neo. I kind of saw him as John Wick after that. Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
I mean, he's been John Wick longer than Neo, so fair enough. But yeah, I don't think there's any more left to say.
No, it's a long ass video.
Yeah, well, you got a bit of editing to do. So my final score review of Ballerina, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. I thought you were going to the 6 mark, 6-ish, 6.5, but
I still enjoyed it. Seeing it from the point of view of a film creative, how they set up scenes, how they stylize kung fu and the stunts and all that. It's top tier. It's the narrative that makes it shit. Yeah, it's the narrative that's the weakest part of it, and the villain. So I still respect the film.
Hello, Jared. Copying my pose. What do you?
I didn't mean to, but when I noticed it, I was just like, I gotta hit this. My final verdict. It's based. I feel like we all have the same ideologies. On Mitch, you're gonna pass out. And yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way, like 7 out of 10, because I was entertained at the end of the day. There's like a lot of things where I'm just like, what Mitch said before. There's like a lot of rules, rules, and then it's all getting broken and stuff like that, and just other stuff that's not.
So
explained.
you liked it less than us, but even though you seem to have liked it more.
Well, like, was it? What did you get? What did you give it, Josh?
7.5.
7. I gave it. So that's more like leading up to an 8. I just gave it a 7.
Yeah, so
That's
I
what he's
reckon
saying.
you should
You
give
gave
it
it
a
a
bit of
7,
an 8.
but you seem to be complimenting him more. No,
Yeah.
Oh,
just,
yeah,
just don't give it a
true.
7.
I mean, it's your scale, but I think you should give it an 8. But it's your scale, mate.
Jared, you vote how I want you to vote.
Yeah, exactly.
So this works, mate.
10 out of 10.
All right, people, humans, thank you for watching the Gibians. That's what we call you, the Gibians.
Gibians.
No, I don't know. That's not going to stick at all. But
Giblets.